My friends, if you are listening to this right now, I want you to know this is not an accident. God has a divine plan for your life that is far greater than anything you have ever dreamed of. Some of you are living in doubt. Some of you are asking, God, is there really a purpose for my life? And others are wondering, have I missed my calling? I want to tell you today, God's plan for you is bigger than you imagine. It's greater than your past mistakes, greater than your fears, greater than your limitations. You may see only obstacles, but God sees opportunity. You may feel small, but God sees a mighty warrior in you. If you miss this message, you might miss the very answer you have been praying for. So listen closely, because this could be the moment that changes everything. The Bible says in Isaiah 55:8-9, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Many of us try to fit God into our limited human understanding. But the truth is, God sees the full picture. He knows your tomorrow. He knows your destiny. And He is orchestrating everything for your good. Don't limit God's plan to your own understanding. His ways are always greater. Jeremiah 1:05 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Before your parents even gave you a name, God already had a purpose for you. You are not here by accident. You are not a mistake. The Creator of the universe set you apart for a divine reason. If you are still breathing, God is not finished with you yet." Many people think, if God has a great plan for my life, why am I facing so many problems? The answer is simple. God uses trials to shape you. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Your struggles are not meant to break you. They are meant to prepare you. Just like gold is purified in fire, God is refining you through your hardships so that you can step into His perfect plan. Hebrews 11:6 says, "Without faith it is impossible to please God." God is not asking you to understand everything. He is asking you to trust Him. Abraham didn't know where God was leading him, but he followed by faith. Noah didn't see the rain, but he built the ark. Faith is believing in what we cannot see because we trust the one who holds the future. 2 Corinthians 4:18 says, "So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." God's plan for you doesn't just affect your life here on earth, it has eternal consequences. The choices you make today are shaping your eternity. Don't just live for the temporary pleasures of this world. Live for something greater. Proverbs 3:05-6 tells us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." When you surrender your dreams, your fears, and your plans to God, He will take you places you never imagined. Some of you are holding on to your own plans so tightly that you are missing God's best. Let go. Trust Him. His plan is far greater than anything you could create on your own. Step into God's plan today. My friends, today is the day to step into God's plan for your life. Don't settle for a small vision when God has something bigger. Don't let fear, doubt, or past failures hold you back. Trust in the Lord, walk by faith, and watch as He takes you places beyond your imagination. God is calling you. Will you answer? The Bible tells us in Isaiah 55:8-9, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." This means that what we see as limitations, God sees as possibilities. We often judge our future based on our past experiences, our resources, or what the world says is possible. But God does not operate within human limits. He operates in the realm of the impossible. Think of Joseph. He was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. To the human eye, his life seemed like a series of misfortunes. But in God's plan, every setback was a setup for something greater. Joseph could not see the full picture, but God was preparing him to be a ruler who would save nations. The same is true for you. What you see as delay, God sees as development. What you call rejection, God calls redirection. He is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Instead of doubting His plan, trust that His thoughts for you are higher, His vision for your life is greater, and His purpose for you is beyond anything you could ever imagine. Before you were even born, God had a plan for your life. Jeremiah 1:05 declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." You are not an accident, and your existence is not random. The world may try to tell you that you are just another person among billions, but God says otherwise. He created you with a unique purpose, a divine assignment that only you can fulfill. Look at Moses. He was born in a time of danger, placed in a basket, and sent down the river. From the outside, it seemed like his life was left to chance. But in God's plan, he was being positioned for destiny. The same is true for you. Every detail of your life, the gifts you have, the experiences you've been through, even the challenges you face, are all part of God's design to prepare you for something greater. Maybe you feel like your life lacks direction or that you have wasted too much time, but as long as you have breath, God's purpose for you is still alive. He does not make mistakes. And He did not make a mistake when He made you. No matter your background, your past, or your weaknesses, God's plan for your life still stands. All you have to do is trust Him and step into the purpose for which you were created. Many people believe that if God has a great plan for their lives, everything should be easy. But the Bible teaches us otherwise. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." This means that even in trials, hardships, and disappointments, God is shaping you for something greater. Look at Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. From the outside, it seemed like his life was falling apart. But in reality, God was preparing him for a position of influence where he would save an entire nation. If Joseph had not gone through the trials, he would not have been ready for the palace. Your struggles are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to develop you. Every setback, every closed door, every painful moment is part of God's process to prepare you for His greater purpose. The devil wants you to believe that your trials mean God has abandoned you. But the truth is, God is working behind the scenes. What the enemy meant for evil, God will turn for good. So, don't give up in the middle of the process. The hardship you are facing today might be the very thing that strengthens you for the destiny God has prepared for you. Trust that He is using every trial to shape you into the person He created you to be. Faith is the key that unlocks God's plan for your life. Hebrews 11:6 says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. Too often we want to see the whole picture before we take the first step. We want God to explain every detail before we trust Him, but that is not how faith works. Faith is believing in what we cannot yet see, trusting that God is leading us even when we don't understand. Think about Abraham. God told him to leave his homeland and go to a place he had never seen. He didn't have a road map. He didn't know the full plan, but he obeyed because he trusted God. And because of his faith, he became the father of many nations. Imagine if he had refused to step out because he wanted more details. He would have missed God's greater purpose for his life. The same is true for you. Maybe God is calling you to step out in faith, but fear is holding you back. Maybe you feel unqualified, uncertain, or afraid of failure. But faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. When you take a step of faith, God will open doors you never imagined. He will guide you, provide for you, and lead you into His. Don't let doubt keep you from what God has for you. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where God wants to take you. Walk by faith, not by sight. And watch how God moves in ways beyond your imagination. God's plan for you is not just about this life, it is eternal. 2 Corinthians 4:18 says, so we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. Too often we get caught up in the worries of today. Our careers, our finances, our struggles. But God's plan reaches far beyond the temporary things of this world. Look at Jesus. When He came to earth, people expected Him to set up an earthly kingdom, to overthrow Rome and rule as a political leader. But His mission was far greater. He came to bring eternal salvation. If His plan had been only about this world, we would have had temporary relief, but no eternal hope. Instead, He gave us something that lasts forever. The same is true for your life. God is not just working on your present circumstances. He is preparing you for something that goes beyond this world. Every decision you make, every step of obedience is shaping your eternity. The trials you endure now are producing a greater glory that will last forever. So don't live just for today. Don't chase after things that fade away. Seek God's purpose. Walk in His will. And invest in what truly matters. When you align your life with God's eternal plan, you will find a peace and fulfillment that nothing in this world can give. Surrender is the key to walking in God's plan. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Many people miss God's best for their lives because they try to control everything themselves. They hold on to their own plans, their own desires, and their own understanding, instead of fully trusting God. Look at Peter. When Jesus called him to walk on water, he had to step out of the boat. As long as he kept his eyes on Jesus, he walked in the supernatural. But the moment he looked at the waves, he began to sink. Why? Because he relied on his own understanding instead of fully surrendering to Jesus. The same is true for us. God's plan is far greater than anything we could design for ourselves. But we have to let go of control. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means giving in to God's higher purpose. When we stop trying to figure everything out on our own and trust him completely, he opens doors we never imagined, leads us down paths we never expected, and brings us into blessings we never thought possible. So today, let go of fear. Let go of doubt. Let go of your need to control everything. Surrender fully to God, and he will lead you into a destiny far greater than anything you could plan for yourself